My name is Tammy Yeager, and I'm an independent filmmaker. Very follow-up on the last two questions, actually, because I'm amidst the project as well, in the middle of shooting, 2 years, half the way funded, already starting to build my outreach, partially because it's important to me, it's part of why I'm making the film, and partially because I think it will help in enhancing the fundraising process and getting the film funded and made. So the follow-up question is, what's the timing? When is the timing that we go and we start looking for the funding for the outreach? When we haven't finished the film, what can we show from the film? Do we show the same, materials that we would be doing for fundraising? Does it help the fundraising of the building of the film? Does it actually take from it if you do it too soon? So how does that whole timing part of it work?
I'll just take a real stab at it. I think Cheryl mentioned, actually everyone has mentioned, you need to have sort of thinking about outreach now. 2 years ago, when you first started. I mean, that needs to be a real conscious part of your sort of moving forward, because out of this outreach, it may help you in terms of how you go about framing what you get in the field, right. When you know exactly what it is that you are going towards. So, I mean, do you have an advisory group?
Yes, and I'm actually working, I don't know how much I can talk about this, but with one of the outreach partners in this room is actually working with me at this point. Okay. And also, my project's been funded by NATA, the National Asian American Telecommunications Association, which is one of the CPB minority consortia. So I've been in the partnering process, which obviously no one here cares about my personal story, but I guess one of the things I've had a really hard time getting a handle on is when to really start fundraising for that. I know this is about strategies, but at the same time, you need the funding. You feel sort of stretched as a filmmaker. You're trying to make the film. You're trying to do your proposals. You're thinking about your outreach, and they all go together, but you're one person, essentially. So I don't know if the question was clear, but, like, when do you do that? When do you start sending the proposals?
I think increasingly the answer would be that you should start funding for your outreach when you're funding for your pre-production. In our experience, right now, funders are looking for even the intentionality that we were talking about. You don't have to have a brilliant strategy. It doesn't have to be all mapped out. But if they see that you have commitment to getting a strategy, to talking to the communities that are going to need your film, and you do that, you talk about that even in your pre-production proposals, and you talk about committing a dollar figure to outreach, that's what they're going to want to see. And it may be that one of those funders will come in with some production funds and say, you know what, it's in our best interest for your film to have an outreach plan. So MacArthur, for instance, right now, I know is when they give production funding, those films automatically get outreach funding.
I just would add that maybe think about it in a phased approach, that especially if you're doing for NACHA, so it means it's for about Asian Americans, that you go to foundations, community organizations, coalitions that might give you something as small as $10,000 to develop a really deep and rich outreach plan to do it that way. I've seen that work very effectively.
My question is intended to be provocative, so maybe I ought to wait till the next session.
Why don't you launch it now, and we'll have a chance to talk about it at the networking break.
Okay. My name is Chris Dick, and I was a public television producer within the system for 25 years.
Where were you, Chris?
And because a lot of this conversation is about public television outreach, that's why I'm up here being provocative. I was sort of present at the creation of outreach in the public television as a PTV producer, and someone who went to the conferences in Washington 20 years ago.
Like were you with PTOA, Public Television Outreach Alliance?
I'm sorry?
Or with the Public Television Outreach Alliance? Or?
No, back even before that, when as public television producers and stations we were trying to find ways to stay relevant as we saw our relevance sort of fleeting away and our audiences growing smaller. And the
I just have to encourage you to make your comment in a minute.
Well, then I think I'll wait till the next session.
Okay.
Thanks.
We'll look for you. We'll look for you then.
I want to make one comment to the producers in the room. This is not a plug because it's a giveaway. Is that we do a free consult for producers. It's a 45-minute conversation. There's no charge for that. It's about sort of talking about your film, talking about your outreach, some of these questions come up. We give it away. It's not pitch for our services. We couldn't possibly work with all those films. We've done over 200 of these, and it's on our website. So that's another way. It's another networking opportunity for you.
Well, I know that you're dying to talk to each other and to these people, so I will let you get to it. Thank you very much to all of you for this panel.